It must be a hell of an adrenaline buzz, like going off behind a race,
Yeah,
and knowing like you're on got like anything can happen, and it's such a dangerous activity that you're watching in front of you, just waiting to jump, spring into action.
And it's different for different races. You look at the super stock, and there's regularly sort of 40 bikes, the stock sixes or the stock thous, and you're there in a car behind thinking, right, there's 40 lunatics in front of me wanting that one piece of tarmac into the first corner.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't fit. So you just you can't help but you're sort of almost mentally preparing yourself for what may happen. All really good riders, thankfully, and in the British Superbike, I mean, and all of the classes leading up to that, you don't just get into those classes. You've done a fair bit of an apprenticeship usually before you get into them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all really experienced, even the junior classes. But then that brings in another element. You've actually got kids here racing around bikes. You can't help but deal with them the same, but they are different. They're different sizes of equipment that you need, but you've got sort of 40 bike riders, and when you're a chase car, you don't have the time to, when I'm in my day job, you have time to process and mentally prepare for what you're going to, because there's maybe the job comes in, you've maybe got an 8-minute flight, 4 minutes to lift, so you've maybe got nearly 15 minutes really before you get on scene to go, right, I've got a 12-year-old, this is my calculations for a paediatric of that age or size, this is the injuries I'm expecting from what's going on. When you've got 40 bikes in front of you, one goes down, takes 4 others down, and you're right on top of the incident, you don't have that time to mentally prepare. So you need to kind of give yourself that time. So
I've got to ask, and I'm trying to think of the best way to structure it. Like, now, how long have you been working at BSB alone? Just BSB?
12 years.
12 years.
Yeah.
Now, you can imagine, like you said, you've been following Chrissy throughout his career, and like a lot of other competitors, does that make your job harder, being theoretically more emotionally attached?
A little bit. I mean, a little bit at times, but I think it almost motivates you a little bit to do more, to be that person who can make a difference, because you're invested in, like, working for the British Superbikes and being part of that paddock, you feel invested in all of the riders that are there, because you give a shit, you care.
Yeah.
So I think for me, and to be honest, when something happens, it almost just like a switch flicks and you're just professional and you do what needs to be done at that point. When you go to the chase car, which is probably one of the most difficult roles, because you've potentially got, if one goes down in the first lap, it's not usually one, it's 2, 3, 4 more. And you've got no time to prepare yourself for what you're going to, and you're the only medic there. Granted, there's a medic on each corner as well. So you've got to sort of quickly triage, and there's one of the medics that I sort of learnt from was a guy called Paul Burnage, who doesn't do it anymore. He always said to us, when you're on chase, park a few meters back, so maybe park 20, 30 yards back in the chase car, and have a sort of slow jog to the scene. It gives you a time to count the bikes, count the riders, does the number match, assess the triage, the different riders that are there, he's up and walking, he's lying down, he doesn't seem to be moving, he's holding his leg. It gives you that opportunity to size up the scene and assess what you're going to do first.
Is it wow. Am I right in saying, so if that is the case, say 3 were down, if one was clearly in pain, and there was one that was not making any noise, it'll be a good thing if they're in pain, type of thing.
You're not picking the bike manufacturer. Like I'm the Yamahas. He's a Kawasaki. I'll leave him
for the minute,
so
mate. So
the emergency would be.
It depends, because obviously someone could be quiet because they're unconscious, or they could be quiet because they're collecting themselves. Yeah. The other thing when you work,
shit.
Well, exactly. You all have that moment, don't you?
It's almost impossible as you're running to know exactly which is the more serious, isn't it?
I mean, I high-sided at Clearways on a track day, and I sat there going,
winded.
no, I'm all right. I'm okay. But you have that moment where you're just kind of stationary, don't you? You're just like,
imagine you rolling over, seeing someone jog towards you, be like, wait, run!
Yeah, I know.
Smoking a cigarette, assessing.
Like I say, it's different if there's one rider down, you just want to get there,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
But when there's a few, you need to almost have that sort of condor moment where you're just like, hold on, pause, take in what's going on to just improve your sort of situational awareness and move forward. Rather than just running to multiple and not doing anything. You need to be quite calm and collected and
obviously it's
methodical.
In that situation, it's a very traumatic experience that most people would never, like, not in your line of work, most people wouldn't sort of ever deal with, or hopefully never deal with or come into contact with. Do you just deal from experience? Do you, a little bit like the race, and do you just learn how to sort of channel your emotions so you stay?
Yeah, I think a lot of that, and that's different again at the superbikes, because there is sort of added pressure there because there's thousands of fans. There's TV. Granted, they never really show you on the TV when you're doing medical care. They really, Eurosport tend to be really good with that, and the sort of British Superbike sort of organisation, MSV, are brilliant at managing those sort of situations. But when I did a bit of a research like not long ago, the last sort of normal year pre-COVID was 2019. There was 25,900 RTCs, that's people sustained major trauma in, and there's 25,500 paramedics in the UK, which means your average paramedic is seeing just over one major trauma per year. So it's difficult to get really good at it unless you're doing other bits and pieces. So it's a bit different for me because obviously I work on the air ambulance, which means I go to a lot of that sort of stuff. But the British Superbikes also brings your experience up quite considerably. So they tend to get a lot more experience from that to sort of stay calm. We always chat through our jobs and the approach afterwards, and the likes of the sort of significant accidents that we've had recently, like Brad Ray and whatnot. Brad Jones. Sorry. We all chatted through afterwards what went well and how can we move forward.
So you were on the scene with Brad Jones.
There's obviously the structure, the medical structure that we have at the Superbikes. We've got 3 medical cars with the more experienced medics on. I was on one of those with another lad called Mark Hodkinson, who's a HEMS, a helicopter emergency medical service paramedic down in Thames Valley. Really smart, good guy. And then you've got a paramedic or doctor on each corner, and then you've got a full medical centre equipped with an anaesthetist and other medical specialities, nurses and physiotherapists, and so you've got a resource there that is probably better than any motorsport, or up there with any motorsport
absolutely world
in the
class.
World. Yeah, it really is. There's some absolute brilliant clinicians that work at that team. And
I can vouch for that.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah,
but hey, I've just got to say, well done and thank you, for Brad.
Well,
for the whole you and the team.
It's a whole team approach,
yeah.
really. It really is, and but you've kind of got to learn to sort of, you gain that experience and you learn to sort of be methodical and keep that. I think like any medic will tell you, particularly the pre-hospital medics, will sort of say like, you've just got to stay calm, and when that incident happens, you'll be surprised how it just kicks in and you just crack on with what needs to be done. It's quite a sort of structure that we all sort of adopt and do, and I mean it's something pretty special to be part of, to be honest. The British Superbike medical team, you look at the statements that have been sort of published from Brad Jones, and you just think that's we've helped someone there significantly. If that type of incident had happened on a track day or something, it just doesn't bear thinking about.
It must be a fabulous sense of Well, just a fabulous feeling, you know, when you see the likes of Brad Jones or other riders that have had, you know, serious incidents that you've been a part of, and then when they come back, you know, to visit, whether it's the next year or the year after or whatever, and it's you know, for that person, it's the most significant moment of their life, and to sort of play a crucial part in that must be, you must get a hell of a sense of job satisfaction from that.
100%. I mean, that's the same with my sort of day job. You know, we're in a very, very privileged position that not many people have. You meet someone on their worst day of their life and you have the opportunity to make it a bit better. It's not many people get the opportunity to do that.